Luke Johnson was a hard-working man who took pride in his home in Bridgeport. He had always followed the rules, treated his neighbors with respect, and believed in fairness. But one day, his peaceful life was turned upside down by a shocking letter, an eviction notice claiming he wasn't the rightful owner of his house. At the center of this conflict was Walter Brooks, a homeowners association board member with a reputation for using technicalities to assert control. Walter had discovered a clerical error in Luke's property records and saw an opportunity to force him out. What seemed like a small mistake quickly escalated into a battle for justice, as Luke found himself fighting to prove his rightful ownership. Would he be able to stand against Walter's manipulative tactics, or would an error on paper cost him his home? Luke Johnson was the kind of man everyone in Bridgeport respected. He worked hard, took care of his home, and treated his neighbors with fairness. Known for keeping his word and following the rules, he had built a quiet and steady life in his house, which had been in his family for years. He believed in honesty and the law, and because of that, people in the community trusted him. But not everyone in the neighborhood valued integrity the way Luke did. Walter Brooks was different. As a board member of the Homeowners Association, he thrived on control. He was the type of person who didn't just enforce rules. He looked for ways to use them to his advantage. He often scrutinized records and documents, searching for technical mistakes that he could turn into leverage. One day, while reviewing property files, Walter found something unexpected: a clerical error in Luke's records. The paperwork didn't clearly show him as the legal owner of his house. To most, this might have seemed like a simple mistake, easily corrected. But to Walter, it was an opportunity. He saw a way to challenge Luke's ownership and force him out, proving his own authority over the community. What started as a small error in the records was about to become a high-stakes battle for Luke's home. One afternoon, Luke Johnson received an unexpected letter that sent a chill down his spine: an official eviction notice from the Homeowners Association. The letter claimed that he wasn't the rightful owner of his home and had to vacate the property. Confused and alarmed, Luke immediately searched through his personal records. He knew he had the proper deed, signed and recorded years ago, but the letter insisted otherwise. Determined to get to the bottom of this, he took his documents to the county records office to verify the truth. At the office, officials examined his paperwork and confirmed what Luke already knew: he was indeed the legal owner of his home. The error in the association's records was just a clerical mistake. But while Luke saw this as a simple issue that could be corrected, Walter Brooks saw it as a battle he intended to win. He ignored the verified records and continued pushing for Luke's eviction, using the flawed paperwork as his weapon. As word spread, the neighborhood became divided. Some residents believed Luke had been wronged and supported him, while others, intimidated by Walter's authority, remained silent. What had started as a simple filing mistake had now escalated into a tense standoff that would determine the future of Luke's home. Realizing he had no choice but to fight for his home, Luke Johnson carefully gathered every piece of evidence proving his rightful ownership. He organized his property deed, tax records, and legal documents, preparing for what would be a critical showdown. With the community watching, the Homeowners Association scheduled a meeting to decide his fate. Luke arrived determined, knowing the truth was on his side. But Walter Brooks was just as prepared. Confident in his ability to manipulate the system, Walter stood before the board and argued that the error in the records justified eviction. He insisted that without clear proof of ownership, Luke had no legal right to remain in his home. As the board members carefully reviewed the documents, the atmosphere in the room grew tense. Then, a crucial discovery changed everything. Among the files, an old record from Crestview Management surfaced, one that clearly showed Luke had inherited the house from his late father many years ago. A local official present at the meeting verified the document's authenticity, confirming beyond any doubt that Luke was the rightful owner. The evidence was undeniable. The balance of power shifted, and Walter's case began to crumble. What started as an attempt to control the community had now exposed Walter's reckless misuse of authority. The truth was finally coming to light. With all the evidence laid out, the board had no choice but to rule in Luke's favor. The inheritance record, along with the confirmation from the local official, made it undeniably clear Luke was the rightful homeowner, and the clerical error had no legal standing. The decision was swift. The board officially declared that Luke had every right to stay in his home, and any attempts to evict him were completely unjustified. A wave of relief spread through the room as the truth prevailed. Meanwhile, Walter Brooks sat in stunned silence. His plan had completely collapsed. What he thought would be a display of power had instead exposed his manipulative tactics. The board wasted no time in taking action against him. Due to his blatant misuse of authority and his attempt to evict a rightful homeowner over a simple error, Walter was removed from the HOA board immediately. But the consequences didn't stop there. The county office, recognizing how this mistake had almost cost an innocent man his home, took steps to prevent it from happening again. They updated their records, implemented stricter oversight, and introduced new policies to catch and correct filing errors before they could escalate into major disputes. In the end, Luke's fight for justice didn't just save his home, it set a precedent that would protect others in the community for years to come. Luke's victory was more than just a personal triumph. It was a moment of clarity for the entire community. His fight to prove the truth had restored faith in fairness and the rule of law. Neighbors who had once watched in uncertainty now felt reassured, knowing that justice had prevailed. Many were inspired by Luke's perseverance, realizing how important it was to check official records and stand up when something wasn't right. What had started as a simple clerical error had turned into a lesson for everyone. Mistakes in paperwork should never be blindly accepted, and power should never go unchecked. As for Walter Brooks, his downfall was swift and well-deserved. Removed from the HOA board and under scrutiny from the county office, his reputation was left in ruins. His actions had been exposed not as efforts to improve the neighborhood, but as a selfish attempt to control it. In response to the controversy, local officials introduced reforms to prevent similar abuses in the future. New policies were put in place to ensure that all property records were regularly reviewed and corrected before they could be used to threaten homeowners. With these changes, the town of Bridgeport became stronger, more vigilant, and more united. Luke's battle had been hard fought, but in the end, his determination didn't just protect his own home. It helped safeguard the entire community. Luke's story is a powerful reminder that truth and perseverance can overcome even the most unfair challenges. A simple clerical error nearly cost him his home, but instead of giving in to fear, he fought back with facts and determination. In the end, justice prevailed, and his victory not only protected his home, but also brought lasting change to his community. Now, we ask you, what would you do in Luke's situation? Would you stand your ground and fight for what's right? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story of justice and resilience, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications for more inspiring real-life stories. Thanks for watching.